It took a last gasp victory for Arsenal to overcome Sporting Lisbon yesterday in the first leg of their quarter-final game in the Champions League. We meet to discuss and do a post-mortem of that game is Mustafa Jinodu. My name is Afolabi. Welcome to the show.
Okay, Arsenal, very good victory for them, 1-0 on the road after Sporting has won 17 games in a row. But we have to say that was a very uninspiring and troubling victory. It's uninspiring. One goal. These guys look like they lack creativity. They had many chances to score, and they were only able to put one goal in. No activity from Gyökeres, no creativity. And this highlights what Arsenal should be worried about. If they can only score one goal in a game in which they're supposed to score 2-3 goals, it's a sign that we've seen all year in which the offense lacks creativity and lacks finishing. We all know that Odegaard is supposed to be the number 10. Odegaard is a good player, but he's not a complete playmaker. Eze can dribble very well and everything, but his passing is not the greatest. So what you're looking at is a very predictable offense by Arteta. Teams have figured him out. Very predictable. What Arsenal tries to do is each player has to stay in their position. They have to play zonally. They're not allowed to leave their zone. And the way he uses Gyökeres is to pin the central defenders and try to systematically work and break down teams with no open play, which goes against the way that a guy like Gyökeres likes to play. Gyökeres thrives off of chaos and counter attacks. So what I'm saying is that Arsenal, they can stick to their structured offense, which is very good for stopping counterattacks and for defensive setup. But Arteta needs to bring more creativity and needs to mix up his formations a little bit rather than going one way. What I suggest is that he needs to have Eze and Odegaard on the pitch at the same time, and both of them should play centrally. Make Eze the number 10, make him the central midfielder, and make Odegaard sort of like an 8. Box to box, but with creativity. They need to do something to try to find more ways to score because they only know how to play one way, and they score most of their goals through set pieces. So I think that if you play both of them, you shouldn't put Eze on the wing. Put both of them close to central and actually have Odegaard be sort of like a midfielder roamer where he can do whatever he wants from the midfield and have Eze just to see what could happen to open up the offense. Second of all, they need to open up sometimes where they change their formations and give more space to, rather than just using this rote high line setup to try to create chances for this guy to score. Gyökeres. Because Gyökeres is just being used in a very bad position. He scored 49 goals with Lisbon, I think, or Sporting, yeah. He scored 49 goals. Now he's down to 17. There's no creativity. And what we saw yesterday, there was nobody on that pitch that you could count on to finish and score. Then why did you buy Gyökeres then? He's supposed to be scoring at least 30, 40 goals. So after I get your response, I'm going to talk about also how Arsenal is beginning to play too high because we saw what happened with who are the two central defenders?
Gabriel and Martinelli. And Saliba.
Yeah, they're beginning to give up positioning and get counterattacks because of this high line. So what's his name needs to take a look at this. Arteta needs to look at all of this. But what do you think about their inability to score goals that's been plaguing them all year, Afolabi?
You're absolutely right. I mean, the game was very slow and boring. It was lacking in intensity. I mean, if you watch the Real and Bayern game, you'll be forgiven to think that Arsenal was also in the quarterfinals. I mean, it looked like a Saturday League conference side. It was so tepid, so boring, so uninventive. I mean, which is a far cry from the Arsenal we know. The levels of entertainment and dynamism were simply not there. And I think they're playing with a lot of fear. They were overly cautious. There was no incisiveness. I mean, they were so predictable. They were easy to pick off by Sporting Lisbon. Were it not for some brilliant saves by their keeper. I mean, Sporting Lisbon could have just embarrassed them yesterday. And like you rightly mentioned, they need a little bit of creativity and dynamism in their midfield. Their midfield looks very turgid and very predictable. You know what next they're going to do. You know they're going to pass it around, swing it round, around, until they get a corner kick and they threaten to score from a headed goal. So Arsenal has become a team that has been studied thoroughly by opponents. They know how they score their goals. And most teams, once they're compact and they try and block the spaces, Arsenal they don't have the invention and imagination to open up teams anymore. And if you look at
No.
the way they are, I know they'll finish off Sporting Lisbon, but I mean, you can't even say that Arsenal with this team can win the Champions League. I mean, it was very, very dodgy and very boring.
I know we have to wait to see play to play. Trust me, Arsenal can beat Bayern Munich. They can beat them head to head. But if you were to watch on the pitch, they don't look like they're in the same league.
No, they don't.
The way that Diaz, Kane, passing the ball.
Maybe it's because they have been losing recently. They look very fearful.
Yeah, but I will give them credit. Winning on the road is a big thing against Lisbon. And most definitely Arsenal will come back. They'll probably win 2-0 or something like that at home. But fans of Arsenal shouldn't be worried about this match. They should be worried about future matches. You're playing some tough teams. You got teams like PSG, which hold the ball and are creative. You got teams like Bayern Munich, whose forward line might be the best forward line.
And there's Barcelona as well.
Yeah, and one key thing is that all of them. Declan Rice is not a defensive central defender at all. He's not a defensive central defender. He's a forward moving defense.
More like a box. More like a box.
They don't have anybody who really holds the ball or passes the midfield. I know Odegaard is considered that, but Odegaard is also sort of plays on the run. So they don't really have a balanced midfield at all. They don't have a balanced midfield, and that's going to create holes in their defense. If they meet a team like Bayern Munich, which overloads the midfield, they're going to have some problems. They will. Because they won't be able to supply their wings. They won't be able to supply Saka. Was Saka injured? He wasn't playing, was he? No?
He was injured. He couldn't make this.
And what about Eze? Was Eze injured or he just didn't start?
I'm not sure about Eze's one. I think Eze was on the bench.
With the number of players they have and the depth, he's mismanaging that team. It almost appears as if they don't have depth because he doesn't know how to rotate the squad. Yeah,
because he's always very, very reluctant to play anybody outside his starting 11. And that's their problem. Anytime they don't play with their starters, they don't have enough confidence to win the game.
I'm a different person. Maybe it's not his choice. If I'm already rich in England, I'm already rich. Every footballer is rich. If I was there, I would have stayed with Crystal Palace. But the problem is that they will sell him. But they will sell him anyway because they need the money.
Yeah.
I said, don't send me to Arsenal. Don't send me to Arsenal. Because now when the World Cup comes, that guy ain't playing, man. He ain't playing no damn World Cup. Did he play for their? He played in their friendly, right? He played in the friendly. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
so. All right, so let's move on. Any last thoughts, and then we'll move on.
Yeah. So basically, we know Arsenal will finish them off in London when Lisbon come over. But I pray they play with a little bit more intention. They look scared. I mean, the bottles, the Carling Cup, as well as the FA Cup. So now they look very, very frightened. So it's like they're playing not to make mistakes instead of playing to win. You know, there's a difference.
I pray they don't. I pray they do. I pray Sporting Lisbon does Strait of Hormuz, no passage.
That's just it.
All right, let's get to